Welcome to Herb 101. I'm Dave with Herbalogic, and we're counting down 10 herbs that I know you've heard of, but might not know exactly what they do. And today, we're going to start off day one with ginseng. Now, I have an important caution about both cheap ginseng and expensive ginseng, but until then, let's get into it. The Chinese name for this herb is ren shen, where the ren means people, sometimes gets translated as man, but it means people, man like mankind. And the shen means root, specifically a ginseng root. The Latin binomial for this is Panax ginseng. Panax comes from the Greek root for all healing. It's where we get our word panacea, which this definitely is not. And ginseng comes from French missionaries writing down what they heard. And if you are a native speaker, a lot of times what Renchen sounds like is Genchen. So they used French spelling conventions and we get ginseng. Now you've probably heard of both Korean and Chinese ginseng, and it is exactly the same species. Now it's going to be grown in slightly different areas. The soil might be different. I mean, they're far away. The growing regions are far away, so you're likely to get slightly different outcomes. But if they are similarly processed, it's the same species, and most people are unlikely to notice any kind of difference. The effects of ginseng are largely mediated by a set of compounds called ginsenosides. Now, ginsenosides influence the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. Now, and that's a mouthful, but basically what that does is it moderates our stress response, right? And so you've got this complex set of interactions that have a lot of effects downstream. And this is one of the reasons why taking an adaptogen like ginseng that has an effect on the HPA axis can show up in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. All ginseng is pulled from the ground fleshy and white. If it's red, it has been steamed and dried. Now, those ginsenosides I was talking about, you have major ginsenosides and minor ginsenosides. And the steaming, the heat, actually degrades some of the major ginsenosides into the minor, and the minor ones have an easier time chemically of getting through the cell wall. That's probably why you see a difference between the more stimulating red ginsengs and the more sort of nourishing white ginsengs. Now on to that caution. There is no such thing as cheap ginseng. Ginseng is a multi-billion-dollar global industry, and sadly, sometimes adulteration is a problem. So if you think this is something that you want to take, get ready to do some research and spend a little bit of money. And just like you don't want cheap ginseng, the eye-wateringly expensive stuff, the stuff that's 10 and 15 years old, you don't need that. It's a little bit better maybe, but it certainly isn't worth the money. So just stick with the 4 to 6 year old roots and you'd be fine. Thanks for watching Herb 101. That was ginseng.